These are all of the major things that had they. Apparently, my tongue is not awake yet. This is what I get for trying to do this when I'm still waking up. Hello, hello, my lovely cultists. And to all those not yet initiated, I'm Hannah, the girl for whom morality is an incredibly relative concept. And speaking of questionable morality, I'm back with the grand finale of the Berry Tales. We've seen him perform horrible acts. We've heard him whine about not being able to kill. Go watch the first 2 videos to get the full context, linked in the description below. And now, fellow cultists, sit back, relax, and eat your popcorn as it all comes to a head. Many thanks to Reddit user Starry-Gaze for allowing me to share your story. This story is titled Bloody Berry Turns to the Dark Side, but it's probably fine. Back again with another story about Berry. This one is the most recent, as we have just left off a few weeks back from our bi-weekly game. Cast is the same as the previous post, and the party has just managed to track the snake people to their cave hideout. One thing I should preface this post with is how much Berry likes combat and violence, which is a lot. Berry is a tiny bit of a power gamer, and when originally making their character, asked if they could use the newly released Beast Barbarian, along with Shifter as a race. I didn't really see the issue with this at the time, and just thought it was a fun little choice since I hadn't seen either of them. We also have a rule where you roll dice for stats, but have to hit within a certain range for the total score, between 68 and 75, and get 2 sets to choose from. Berry was really good in a fight. Like, able to one-shot most enemies alone, kind of good in a fight. This made it somewhat difficult when planning combats, since the rinky-dink bandits that I used previously now had a 1 in 5 chance of being ripped to ribbons by a large raging boar man who might feel hungry and wish to eat one of them. Oh my goodness. Oh dear. This in and of itself is not bad, but Berry's actions have at times caused some tension in the party due to the high aggression playstyle they couple with their high-spec build. Multiple players have said that this is fine and all part of roleplay, not completely agreeing and such. But it has led to some moments where I had to sit people down and try to smooth things out and make things right. As mentioned previously, they have a bit of a list to their actions they have done so far, so let me try and recompile here for ease of reading. These are all of the major things that they have done so far. They've attacked random people on the road with the intent to rob and kill. They've bitten off and eaten the ear of a guardsman. They attempted to butcher some human cultists for their blood and bones to decorate their armor, which I'm still sad that he didn't do, because that would have been so cool. Have asked out of character multiple times if anyone would mind them eating sentient creatures like humans, orcs, elves, and so on. I mean, at least he's asking though. That's improvement, right? They enter the dungeon, start out stealthy and the like, and find the snake people. Berry notices the cave has a free-flowing river of about ankle to thigh-high water. As they progress and combat starts, Berry starts doing some things like swinging enemies around and using them to beat the dreck out of each other. I have no idea how to rule this. Ask for his lift and throw strengths. Do some quick searches and make a ruling that he can without proficiency, since he is not proficient in Mother Fraggers. As he wished to beat one Mother Fragger with another Mother Fragger. it together. Oh my goodness. Oh my god. Okay. He then had the idea to try and slam one of the skinnier Yuan-Ti purebloods into the river below. Everyone else is keeping their distance. Brew is helping Barry out from a distance with their crossbow. Hawk and Hare are double-teaming a pair of Yuan-Ti, so it's just Barry and the purebloods in melee over here. They spend the next 2 turns of theirs trying to grapple them, only for them to escape before he can get off the drowning. He then promptly runs after them, alone, out of range and into danger to try and grapple them again for another 2 turns. This one had low health already from being hit by Brew, so when Barry finally got it off, it was more a crushing than a drowning. But Barry still screamed at the top of their lungs over the call, sounding like Scorpion from Mortal Kombat with how many times they said, "Get over here!" Okay. Barry might be sort of a... I wouldn't say problem player. I can see how they could cause problems for the DM. But stuff like this would be worth keeping him in. OP, I now understand why you've been so patient with Barry. This is amazing. Lastly, when the party regrouped, they found a large snake monstrosity guarding the kidnapped woman, and it was more focused on protecting her than fighting them. After a bit of shenanigans and running away from the woman? They're running away with the woman. Yes, the woman turned out to be the bad guy. I mean, I'd probably do something like that, honestly. After a bit of shenanigans and running away with the woman, Barry gets the killing blow, and in a very aggressive manner, he describes as he literally Beyblades through the creature. Oh my god! Barry was on form this session, wasn't he? Holy crap. Oh, okay. I can do this. I can get through this story. Oh. And a giant gore spatter display. He then asked if he could descale the snake people in order to enhance his armor. Again with the armor. He has had a lot of desire to get even stronger. I suspect because he's used to Pathfinder, where the scaling ceiling for strength and individual hardiness is quite high. However, I know that that isn't really how things work in this game, firstly, and that the scales on the Yuan-Ti weren't exactly in a condition where they could be used in that way. Even undamaged as they are an innate protection, that wouldn't really transfer into an armor enhancement. I told him as much, and mentioned that it would also result in an alignment shift, since at least a few of them were humanoid non-monstrosities. And again, butchering the recently deceased is pretty evil, no matter the culture. Then he asked about the larger monstrosity, and I say that while it toes the line, he could get some scales from it. But they're not in a condition to use for any kind of armor enhancement. And even if they were a material he doesn't know how to work with. He argued back and forth on that one for a bit, but relented after another reminder that he described a pretty bloody severing of its insides from its outsides. They did, however, take its head as a trophy. I may have mentioned previously that I told Barry to take an alignment shift for some previous actions on the list above, taking them from true neutral to chaotic neutral, and informed them that any more evil-inclined actions would result in a similar change. but so too would any good actions. I also clarified that alignment would not cause any immediate or prevalent change, as it was only used to define their actions, with the effect coming into play only when they encounter something that can directly see those alignments, like certain magical creatures, spirits, gods, and the like. All in all, not that big of a deal. Barry avoided being chaotic evil like the plague. For some reason, despite my regular reminders that this change would not actively change anything, as very few things can act upon it, they always toed the lines with their actions. After the session, they started complaining about how they couldn't use their dead enemies to enhance their armor, and how they wanted to do more. And I finally asked the question, "So, Barry, why exactly are you choosing to avoid being described as evil? We already talked about how in your plans as a character you were wanting to kill literal kingdoms, sparing no one, and you were okay with the understanding that it would be chaotic evil no matter what. So what's up?"
I just don't want to be punished for being evil? Seems kinda obvious, bro.
You know I've told you a good couple of times now that I don't punish for alignments just because, right?
Oh, Drek, really?
Yeah, alignment won't affect you just because. Now, if you do evil things in front of others or leave a trail of destruction, then that might cause some problems. Rue chimed in as well, as someone who was still in the chat and was already privy to Barry's plans as a character. He did some stuff in session looking for diseases and the like to poison entire towns.
Yeah. Like if you go murdering people in the streets, someone might stop you. But if you piss off the wrong people, they'll come after you. And the party might have something to say, but that's only if they catch you. So long as I'm sneaky, no one will know?
Well, spirits and certain magical creatures might know. But I doubt you're gonna be seeking them out for help anytime soon.
Yeah, no. I don't want to destroy things with someone else's help.
It was then that Barry decided to go full evil, starting with going back, scalping all of the Yanti to make a blanket out of. And, you know, despite the abject awfulness of that statement, it felt relieving. It was kind of like a weight was taken off, not having to deal with someone who thinks I'm going to punish them wholeheartedly just for their alignment. But in turn, it means that I now have someone who is probably going to be a lot more active in their plans. And now I wait, trying to see what they do and how the party responds. And to be honest, I hope I don't feel the need to make a fourth post to de-stress from Barry's shenanigans. Well, Barry, I'm glad you found your path. And OP, I'm so glad that everything seems to have worked out so far. And I hope it continues to do so. This, my lovely cultists, is an excellent example for why you talk to your players before simply booting them from the game. Though I have to admit that OP had even more patience with Barry than I probably would have. But the point still stands. Talk to your players. It very well may be that they just don't quite understand something or had an assumption that wasn't quite correct. Of course, it could be that they still don't change their behavior at all, and in that case, I say boot them. But I believe that as long as there is visible improvement, the second or third chances should be given. And that, everyone, brings the Berry Tales to a close. So, I think it's time to say goodnight. If you liked these videos and would like to see more, as well as any of my other content, go ahead and hit that subscribe button. Likes, comments, and subscribes helps my channel grow, and helps keep the algorithm Shoggoth locked inside his cozy little circle. Thank you so much for joining me. Until next time, Until next time, my wonderful cultists, when the stars align. From our bar weekly. It's back from her Barry was really good in a fight. Let's try that again, but without the slurring. Blah blah blah. So it's just Barry and the purebloods and Melee over here. Melee. He then asked if he could desiculate, taking them from Brew chimed in. He did some. Oi.